Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, fixing, breaking, reviewing, playing, suing the pants off of all other podcast.
I realized I never checked our levels before we started. Hey, okay.
Are they
That's
good?
That's a good level.
Do we need to do it again?
No, I think we're good.
Awesome.
This first
If your podcast has ever had a glitch, we're going to sue you.
Yeah, that's our intellectual property.
Intellectual.
Doing things wrong. This ad was sent to us by Tobias Johnson, and it is for a wide neck Schecter / Ibanez custom hybrid.
Yeah, it says...
Hybrid? How's that pronounced?
Oh, is it spelled?
Hybrid? Isn't hybrid spelled with an I?
That's hybrid, not hybrid. Hybrid.
Yeah. Is this bred together highly?
Yeah. Where does this...
I've seen either this builder stuff or this modifier stuff or someone who does something similar before.
I wanted to make a joke about Alabama, but this item is located in the United Kingdom.
Whoops. Well, they do swap out like different like letters in their words compared to us.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that is the way it's spelled over there.
I was just going to make a joke about the word bread.
Like they spell gray differently, and the way to remember is American gray has an A in it for American. English gray has an E in it for England.
I've never thought about it that way. And I also don't know when it is or isn't appropriate to use it. So like the pedal, the loophole is the gray matter with an E, right?
It's with an E.
But then the Earthquaker pedal is the gray matter with an A, or the gray channel with an A.
I don't remember, but probably.
No, it is with an A.
Yeah.
Because I got in a fight on YouTube about it with somebody the other day, so
cool.
I had to make sure I spelled it right. All right, Schecter Ibanez custom wide neck. If you have passed by this way a few days back, you might think you've seen the same guitar, but looking different. That is true. It would be the perfect option. So here you go. Jeez, man.
There's a lot of text. I know.
This is all about function. Single coil, use alone, or bring the bridge pickup.
That's not the interesting part.
Blah, blah. No, then
let's get to the interesting part.
Okay, the body came as an old Schecter black check body, which coated body wood, and then the white over that and a sky blue layer.
You're still not to the interesting part.
Has a look of its own above all, and plays and sounds well or better than other guitars you would play at 1,000 pounds for. Oh my gosh, there's another page of words.
I'm telling you, there's a lot of words. You're not at the interesting part yet. The interesting thing about this guitar is that he's taken a 7-string, subtracted a string, and then converted the nut and the bridge saddles to make it a 6-string guitar with wider spacing between the strings.
He never actually says that outright.
What?
Yeah.
Why were you reading all that crap then?
I don't know, man. That's what we do. I always just read the description.
Look at this
I
guitar.
don't do very many things well, Ryan, and reading is one of the things I do actually do well.
And it's the one thing I don't do well at all.
Yeah, that's why we're the best at what we do.
Yeah, we fill out each other's weak spots. But anyways, I think I've seen this guy's work before. If not his, and someone else doing something similar. People are taking 7-string guitars and they're making them into 6-string guitars so that there's wider spacing between the strings for people that have big hands, apparently, or feel that they have big hands. I feel like both you and I have fairly big hands.
I have small hands.
You have small hands?
I feel like I have small hands
and they
for
look
my
big to me,
size.
Steve. Maybe because my hands are big. I don't know. We've done this before. Our hands are similar size.
Yeah.
I don't think you have small hands at all.
Maybe I just have lean hands.
But you know what? Like, what do you think of this mod?
I hate it.
You hate it?
It's just dumb.
Do you think anyone would get any use, like any value?
I mean, I can't say like that it's not useful. It's just like...
Have you played a 7-string before?
Yeah. I don't like this because... Well, where I'm coming from is, okay, like, for example, the Tune-O-Matic bridge is a Tune-O-Matic bridge, and then, oh yeah, we'll just remove this center saddle.
Right, but what do you see what he did is he recut where the strings rest on the bridge saddles? Do you see this?
Yeah.
And like the middle 2 strings are barely hanging off the saddles.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He made it so like the string spacing is correct, but like a big problem here is that the strings don't line up with the pull pieces on the pickup anymore because there's 7-string
on the
pickups.
Well, that's probably why he used the blade at single coil too.
The blade at the neck.
I think conceptually this is interesting, but like
I've never met anyone who's like I tried to play guitar, I physically couldn't do it because my hands are too big. Like there's people out there playing mandolin right now at this very moment with regular sized hands, and I can barely understand that, but they're doing it.
This is about 380, 390 US dollars on the last conversion rate I looked at. Because this is in the UK. What would you be willing to pay for this? Let's just get to it.
Here's the thing. Like, if I'm one of these people who's like, I absolutely have to have this, then I feel like that's a good price.
You know, what's interesting is it's so, going
But
back
I'm never going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, I've been curious about trying stuff for my big hands, because regular guitars just haven't been doing it for me. The problem is my hands are too big.
Well, so like
to me, this is worthless.
I guess for what it's worth, like a lot of people who I have met who say that they have like big hands don't actually have they don't have
like long fingers.
They don't have long hands. They have like meat hook hands.
Sure.
So
they got thick fingers.
The guy who I got my Jags thing from.
Thank you for not saying fat hands, Steve. It's very offensive.
Your hands aren't fat. They're beautiful. That's an old joke.
Did I derail the train there?
That was the thing that you would always say, and then right now I was gonna be like that joke is the reason it took Ryan so long to find a girlfriend.
So what you're gonna say? Meat hook hands.
Yeah, so it's like I think a lot of like people who have big hands that benefit from this. It's because like it's not even that their hands are like long or anything. It's that they have like really like thick fingers,
sure,
like sausage fingers.
Yeah,
and so they can't like
muscular.
So they need more
fingers.
space between. Is that what it is? They need more space between the strings.
I don't know what makes fingers bigger or smaller.
Yeah, I don't either.
I bet it's like something like you wouldn't even know about. Like
it's probably just
cartilage.
Genetic. Some of the one guy I knew was like I think in construction or something.
Okay.
So he may have just had like
calluses.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. He was just always like he'd put like tiny little weights on his fingers. And he's like, oh yeah, feel the burn. 1, 2, 3. I don't know.
He's taking those finger supplements.
He's got the
fingers rich.
What's the one that they show that they try to like they sell in guitar stores where you put it on each of your fingers and you just go like this?
Oh my gosh, because you need that strength to open your fingers. Yeah, I feel like he's done like a fairly good setup here too. He's put up a picture of the action at the first fret, and it is lightning fast. Like, it's hard for me to believe that that's even playable. It's so low. Like, I worry about it fretting out.
I guess my thing is just like, okay, I understand the need for a wide neck. How wide of a neck do you need? Like,
this is gonna be pretty wide. Like, every time I've picked up a 7-string, it's like, oh my gosh,
it's a little
like,
extra.
I cannot. For sure. I can barely get my fingers up to that top string there because I'm not used to it being so wide.
And so, I mean, I guess that's like, if that's what you need, I guess it's kind of crazy.
I feel like there aren't guitars out there that are just naturally wider at the nut.
Yeah. I'm trying. I can't think of specific. Like, well, I guess like the easy one is like a Japanese made Fender. Typically, especially like if it's a vintage style Japanese Fender, has a all around smaller neck.
Right.
Than like my Strat. Well, my Strat's a weird one, but basically every Japanese Fender I've played, the neck has been like on the small side of what I would expect for that model.
I feel like guitar nuts are generally pretty like consistent, but I know that there's a big jump in nut widths with basses, like going from like a P bass to a jazz bass and
like
things like that.
The neck between a jazz and a P bass are pretty different. I'd say the neck typically like the neck between the same model Strat and Telecaster are going to be pretty similar, but once you get like outside of like any sort of like brand limits, I mean, I've played Ibanez guitars where the neck was like
some of the shredder
on
guitars
the smaller side, but then some of the shredder
they can be
ones
really wide at the neck, though.
Yeah, they're like really wide, but they're flat, so they have like the same mass of wood.
Mass of wood.
Yeah.
What do you think there's any reasoning to this tuner tilt that he's got going on here? He's done it symmetrically, as in like they tilt out the same angle. Like every other tuner, but I don't get what he's trying to.
I don't think there's a reason
attempt
for
there.
It. I think if anything, it's maybe he's just thinking like, Well, if you got some big old sausage fingers, maybe you need a little space between your keys.
Maybe that's it. He's doing everything he can to like give you as much space for your fingers as possible. Like, how do you even get to the point where you're playing guitar if your fingers are that big? To the point where you're like, I really need a big guitar now.
I don't know.
It's pretty, but people are making a bunch of these. Like I said, I've seen them before.
So maybe there's ones out there that I would look at and be like, okay, I get it, but this isn't one of them.
You don't get this one.
I mean, like, I understand. Like,
No, I'm saying the build quality I've seen before is like this same thing. That neck joint is ridiculous.
Yeah. I didn't want a metal plate. And so I thought, oh, I should make a set neck. And then I was like, no, I want to be able to put a different 7-string neck on this guitar. So I decided to, like, okay, cool, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like, what was it, 345 or something like that?
390, 380.
If this wasn't a specialized guitar, if this was just a regular guitar with these finishing issues and crazy stuff like that, I'd just be like, there's no freaking way.
Yeah.
But because it is a specialized thing and it looks like the person did a decent setup on the action and stuff like that, like, I kind of feel like his price is fair. Is that weird?
He's taken, like, the neck off of a...
But he's made a specialized thing for, like, a very specialized audience's special needs.
But that's like, oh, I make this bicycle for kids. I make this bicycle for 5-year-olds. But I also make a bicycle for 5-year-olds that has permanent training wheels for disabled 5-year-olds, and I'll charge you $500 more. But also, I ran over it with my car 10 times.
It's like, I'm trying to sell my car, but I modified the front seat so that it kind of like overlaps the passenger seat, and like the way everything's set up now, like a normal person could never drive it because it's set up for conjoined twins to drive or something like that. As like, oh, and by the way, I've taken an angle grinder to the paint job, and then like ground it down, then like repainted it, then ground it again, and it looks really bad. But hey, here's this car that's specific to conjoined twins to drive.
By the way, I drove my car into the ocean and didn't bother to retrieve it until low tide.
Don't worry, it goes really fast still, though.
That's what I mean. That's
but
what I
if
mean.
You're
like,
a conjoined twin and you see that car, you're like, that's the only car I can buy.
But that's what I'm saying. This isn't the only guitar those people can buy. Like,
you think people with big fingers can buy other guitars?
Yeah, I think they could. Just stick to classical big finger guys.
Why not try the long guitar?
The long guitar?
Yeah, the Boss.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my jeez.
I heard you did some long guitar stuff.
I did some long guitar stuff with Patrick Hunter, and it was fun. Yeah. And I did my own long guitar video.
Oh, cool.
We'll get into that with what's new. Yeah.
So
do we want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Here we are. We found ourselves in the place that we were trying to get to. Hey, Steve, what's new?
I got a pedal the other day.
Oh, yeah?
I got my Dunlop Mini X.
Finally?
Yeah, I ordered that like a month ago.
No, I mean finally, like you finally made the decision to buy a good
I made the decision
pedal.
like a month ago.
No, I'm saying you should have made it like a year and a half ago when I got mine.
I have like two of. I'm trying to figure out if I want to buy a second one and for 2 boards, or I haven't even used it yet.
So you haven't even like set custom tension on it or anything like that? Yeah.
Is that what that tool's for?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a very long tool.
I don't remember if it comes floppy or if it comes really stiff, but like I spent some time tweaking it, figuring out exactly how I like mine, and I've just left it ever since I got it.
Do you like it floppy or stiff?
I got it a little stiff, like kind of in between.
Like semi-hard.
Yeah, semi-hard. That's how I like my volume pedal.
Yeah. No, I got that, and then I was looking at.
Were you still rocking the Mini Morley before?
Yeah.
That? Okay.
And I like that. I like that one, but
I mean, if you like a volume pedal that just turns on and off with no throw between.
No, you can. I mean, you just gotta like.
There's a little bit of.
You just gotta goose it. It's got a learning curve.
Meaning that it barely has any curve on that taper at all.
I'm just looking forward to having a volume pedal again that doesn't require a power supply.
I know. I think you're going to really love it once you get on your board. You're going to be like, oh man, it's so small. It's so convenient. No power. It's great.
Yeah. And then I got the new X Solid Studio from you, and I tried to use it. And lo and behold, the BS410, because I'm a dumbass, it's not a bass 410. It's a Bassman 410. So I used it at rehearsal, and I was talking to...
Well, the Bassman was originally designed for a bass guitar.
So I was looking at the manual like during rehearsal, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then afterwards, I like talked to my sound guy, and I was like, "Hey, how was the bass going through this week? It seemed like there were some noise issues, and we were having a bunch of other issues." He goes, "Yeah, no, I got it. It just seemed really like mid-focused." And I was like, "Yep, that makes
That
sense."
sounds about right.
Yep.
I didn't intend for you to use it on bass, Steve. I thought you were going to use that on guitar.
No. I'm trying to put together a bass board.
When I use that thing, I don't look at the model numbers on anything. I close my eyes, I turn the cab knob, and then I turn the mic knob. And
right.
I land on whatever I think sounds good.
Yeah, I couldn't find, but the problem is like none of them really have like a strong bass response, and because there's no EQing on it, there's not really anything you can do about it. I mean, you have like the mic positioning can like add a little bit.
Yeah.
But I need to just download.
I wonder if you turn off the amp side of it completely and just rely on the cab and mic
I tried
settings.
to do that, but I didn't feel like I was getting enough
output.
Like
Interesting.
I ended up switching to the Palmer preamp that I have, and that wasn't really working that great either. The thing I need to try to do with the Solid Studio that I haven't had a chance to yet is to download the software and then just see what kind of like custom IRs they have. You know, hopefully they have one that is more bass appropriate.
I should set up a bass patch for you on the HX Stomp at some point and let you try that out. Patrick was pretty impressed with the little one that I put together and then accidentally overwrote later. But it was pretty easy to throw together a bass patch on there that sounded pretty good. It's got bass amps and cabs built into it, and then of course you can load IRs and whatnot after the fact. But yeah, it sounds pretty good. I haven't mixed that audio yet, but
So what's new with you, Ryan?
Well, I got back from Germany and I feel like I'm almost over with my jet lag a week later.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, the jet lag there, once I got there, like I got over it in about a day, but then coming back has been brutal. Like,
which is interesting because I think it's usually isn't it usually the other way around?
I don't know, man. Like, I just like every day around like 4:00 in the afternoon, my body's just been like, "You're supposed to be asleep now."
Yeah, I mean,
and
I guess
it shut me down.
I guess with that, it's like extra weird because it's not just like a couple hours difference; it's like a whole day.
It's probably oriented around me being kind of a night owl, anyways. Because like going to Germany, it's like, oh, it's just like I'm staying up till 4:00 in the morning. I can do that on a whim, but training my body to fall asleep earlier for some reason screwed me up. I don't know. I had a tough time this year.
You feel like you got a tough time coming back or a tough time there?
Tough time coming back. Dude, I was fine. So I flew in a day early this year to get over the jet lag.
Yeah.
Before I needed to work there, and a lot of people were jealous of that because a lot of people were hurting hard the first day. And the first day I was there, like I thought I was fine in the morning. Then around like 11:00 noon, I just started getting crazy jet lag.
Well, it worked out for you too, because didn't you have some like delays or something with the?
A couple. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't it didn't change the times of. I think I landed like an hour and a half later in Germany than what I expected. Not bad. It wasn't bad. I just wanted to make the joke while I was traveling that like, oh, this is what my flight is like, and I posted a picture of what was it, the Waza. The Boss delay. What is in?
The DM2. DM2W.
Those things are crazy. Have you ever tried one of those?
No.
I tried one at Thomann. The controls are totally like backwards and don't make any sense. It's like you turn the time knob and it's not labeled the time knob. It's something else wonky. And it's like backwards what you would expect.
Oh, okay.
Like shorter times on the right, longer times on the left. Everyone was trying to use it and was like getting all mixed up on it.
I feel like that's normal for a Boss though.
Is that normal for a Boss delay? Faster times on the right, slower times on the left? I don't think so. That's not how it is on my DD3.
Faster as you turn up or faster as you...
Faster
I don't remember.
Faster as you turn up. Anyway. I was in Germany. I did it again. It was a lot of fun. People probably don't want to hear about it too much because it's probably kind of boring.
Yeah. Well, I saw like some of the content that came out, and I saw... The Guitar Geek video.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Well, so my favorite thing about it, of course, like knowing you for a long time, is
The running?
Having Andy running, Andy's doesn't looks like he can barely walk as well. I couldn't tell. Like, luckily, your running was far enough in the foreground that you couldn't really see how bad you look when you run.
I'll say that I was,
but
like,
his looked like very cartoony, like long arms. I mean, he is like 6'4", 6'5".
yeah, he's a tall boy.
To that, but you know, it's just funny. I also just really love that video because at the beginning he's like, "Yeah, Steve's the best."
Of course, you love that
Steve's
video.
great. But Ryan stole Andy's idea.
That's not how it went down. Nope. I came up with the idea, and Andy was just like, "Yeah, that's my idea too. I already had that idea."
Then why were you running?
Why does anyone run? When someone who's 6'4" chases after you, you run, right? Doesn't matter for whatever reason.
That's true.
But I'll say that I was definitely way more winded than Andy was.
Oh, yeah?
I was dying from that running.
I was waiting to see you pop up in one of Mary Spender's Proof of Sweat videos.
Proof of Sweat?
On like the first day of TGU, like her and Adam Neely and Matt Knight were like running 5Ks.
Oh my gosh.
And like,
No,
I think
dude,
they did that like every day.
I would wake up early for some reason because it's just the weird like sleep schedule for me. And I'd go down to get breakfast, and they would all be out front in the hotel, like doing their leg stretches, like in their jogging gear, like ready to go. I was like, they're living a different life than me right now. I'm gonna go eat as much bacon as I can fit on my plate.
I saw that. I saw those videos going up on her Instagram, and I was like, man, next year I'm gonna try to go to TGU just to like be like the 60 cycle rep in the workout squad.
60 cycle run. Is there anything you think I should talk about from being at Germany? Or
nah,
it's all kind of boring.
It's all going to kind of roll out over the next. So basically,
watch the videos.
Yeah, it's all going to roll out over the next few weeks. I think most of the stuff I've seen you that are like kind of coming down the pipeline that hit the unlisted side of the YouTube first are product demos. But I'm sure there's going to be more interactive stuff down the road.
Not a ton. I kind of leaned into just getting guitars. I came up with a cool format eventually in like middle of the second day where it's like, I'm just going to grab 3 guitars. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play all 3 of them, like first impressions. I haven't tried these yet.
Yeah.
And then after playing all 3, I'm going to decide which one I would buy.
Oh, cool.
So it's pretty fun. And I would do it like by genre. So the first one I did was like all semi-hollows.
Right.
And then all full hollows. And then I did a bunch of 12 strings. I did which like guitar that I could never afford would I buy.
You should have done a BMK on some guitars.
Oh, I did which?
Grab 3 guitars and BMK that.
Oh my gosh. I did which like metal extended range guitar surfs the best.
Oh my gosh.
So yes. I did like a baritone and like 2 7-strings or something like that. That was fun. So there's a bunch of fun stuff coming out.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this episode is sponsored by D'Addario. We got these dual lock clippy guys here. These are really cool.
Where's my here it is back here. I've got this checkerboard strap. You can see it just pops off this.
Yeah, it's
guitar.
super old. You've been using that strap. Is that the albino strap?
No.
Oh, so that's not even your oldest checkerboard strap.
Oh, that one isn't checkerboard. That one's just black.
Oh no, you're right. It's just black and it's spray painted. This is the one I'm thinking of then. What are you doing, man?
I'm trying to put the guitar back on the thing. So anyways, yeah, the holes on this are worn out like a wizard's sleeve. Basically, they're super loose. You take something like this. When you put the strap on, you clip this over it, and it's basically like the rubber washer concept, but with a more developed concept. There's a little loop in there that allows you to tuck your cable through it, so you're not tucking your cable between your strap and your guitar. It's just a secure and smart little design that lets you keep using your worn-out straps or lets you lock on, your not worn-out strap. You want to like do your big spins behind your head, this will lock the strap on your guitar.
It's a pretty thin, but like pretty strong plastic.
It feels like that kind of plastic where like if you tried right now, you wouldn't be able to tear it in half.
Right. I mean, I think I could do some damage to it, but I think it would be manipulating in ways that you would never manipulate it as a guitar, like
in unnatural ways.
Completely unnatural.
I don't want to shame people, but I'm gonna use the word pervert here. Like, that's what we're talking about.
All right. So anyway, check out the link from in the show notes. Go to D'Addario, find out where you can buy these. They're pretty cheap too.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive. So you can get a set for every single guitar that you own.
Or strap, for every strap you own. What if you've got 2 guitars, but you have 50 straps? Buy 50 of these for all your straps.
I think you just need 1 set per guitar.
Okay, you're probably right.
All right, so this week's first topic is Gibson. Gibson Authentic. Play Authentic.
Hashtag authentic. I mean, this might be old news by now, but man, it was blowing up everything when the day that we recorded this episode.
I don't know if it's old, man.
Didn't this drop like a week ago? Like the day that I came back from Germany?
Yeah, I think it did. It dropped. It dropped pretty much right when you came back.
But then, like the next day, they took the video down. I mean, everyone knows. I want to just explain what happened, but I feel like everyone knows by now. Like Gibson put out this video with their
new brand ambassador. I'm not exactly
I think
sure.
Slash is their brand ambassador. I forget his actual title. Mark Abbasi?
Mark Agnesi.
Agnesi.
Or maybe it's Agnesi.
Sorry, I screwed up your name.
He was the guitar of the day or guitar of the week or whatever guy from Norman's Rare Guitars. And now he is the
Steve is Googling
director of brand experience.
Director of brand experience
at
what
Gibson.
A title.
And so I guess the soft position, the softest position I think you can take on this is that if Gibson wants to attempt to legally enforce their ownership of a bunch of different...
we didn't even talk about the video yet.
I thought we already said...
Everyone already knows.
Just watch my spoof of it. It's way better than theirs.
Let me do a quick recap.
All right.
Quick video.
Let me do a quick recap. Hey, everybody.
Knock it off. Is this video where he's like establishing the iconic nature of like Gibson designs, like look at this SG, look at this Explorer, look at this Flying V. And you're like, okay, this is an interesting video. They're talking about, like Gibson's heritage. And then all of a sudden hard leans into, we're going to come after your asses.
Yeah.
We're going to sue you so hard. He's like looking at the camera. It looks like he is like about to cry, half like looks like he might be in duress, like this might be, like a ransom video.
My first impression of this video is that the person behind the camera was like holding a child or like
someone was being held hostage.
Like there's like a detonator in a hand and like Mark was sitting on the
bomb. They were holding up Les Pauls and they had a tiny little hammer and were slowly like tapping on the headstock. It was like, we're going to do a big hit any minute now and it's going to crack off. And he was like, no, I'll do the video, I swear. So anyways, Gibson takes this video down after like the first 24 hours because the reaction in the comment section was so like, this is bizarre. What is going on?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Like, oh, here's Gibson being, old Gibson again. So they take down the video and that ignites just a firestorm of people who didn't see it, reacting to everyone who did see it, and then finally someone loaded up a copy that they downloaded onto Reddit, and it's made its way all over the internet.
And then somebody, I think, took the Reddit one and filmed it with like their phone, and then re-uploaded it to YouTube.
Yeah,
so that's still up there. It's just rough. It's a tough look. I know people who tried to justify it and say, well, Gibson does have a right to like. They've invented some of these things. They have a right to defend it. And to some of that, like to say that the Explorer body shape is something that is trademarked, which as of recording, they have served notice to Dean Guitars, who has been manufacturing Flying Bees. What they call the V and the Z style body shape, which is basically the Flying V and the Explorer. They've been manufacturing that since like the 70s, and suddenly now they're getting, legal notice from Gibson.
Yeah.
Which, that ship sailed, dude. If somebody is infringing on what you think is your trademark, and you let it ride for like 40 years,
and it's not like Dean is a small builder. As much as we've joked about Dean Guitars in the past, like Dean is on the freaking map. Like,
I feel
not a small builder
weird
that, like,
being in this position where it's like I'm defending Dean.
By the time this episode airs, who knows? Maybe Gibson will have dropped more lawsuits on other people.
Well,
because it feels like from that video, it feels like they were gearing up to do this and like drop it on a bunch of people.
And it's like one of those things where it's like, I think the reaction from the marketplace would have been more positive if they would have just done it and not made a video.
Yeah.
And the problem is like some of the reaction to this video,
it's like it feels like poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, some of the reaction to these videos have been like, oh well, like I said, they have a right to this and a right to that, and even if you ignore timeline, and some people said, well, they're only gonna. It makes it really sound like they're really gonna. They focus on this part that says, where was it? Oh, people ask us about forgeries and counterfeits, often of lower craftsmanship coming in from overseas. And so they start with that. So a lot of people focused in on that, but that ignores the fact that like Pure Salem has received cease and desist from Gibson.
For body styles that have like nothing to do with anything.
Tom Anderson Guitars has received, I think it's Tom Anderson, received a cease and desist from Gibson.
Listen,
Callings may have received
seriously, like if you talk to builders at NAMM or wherever, like over the years, like talking to these people, like I don't think there's a company out there that hasn't had some sort of dealing with Gibson. Like if you do anything like even close hinting at like a styling that Gibson has done, you're going to end up doing like years worth of back and forth with them trying to get them to clear like your designs.
We actually had a guitar company that I'll just say, we have the guy who operates TMG guitars.
Okay.
Hit up our Instagram and say, yep, I'm getting letters from the lawyers at Gibson is lots of fun. Because like,
what were they making that? Because I thought they were doing Fender-y stuff.
No, they have one model that is they have one single cut model.
Okay.
It's like a single cut gold top model.
Gotcha.
So some of these are like a little more Gibson-y than others. In the case of the Pure Salem stuff, in the case of some of these other brands, I think it's less there. I'm not sure how far, because Gibson did semi-successfully sue ESP guitars back in the day.
Did they?
Years ago. And so the ESP single cut, I think, is like an agreed upon different design. But then Gibson tried to sue PRS like 10 years ago.
For doing a single cut.
I guess now it's like 15 years ago. They tried to do that and they lost. They actually won in the lower courts and then PRS appealed it and they lost like higher up. And they lost at a high enough point that basically if Gibson would have appealed that decision, it would have gone to the Supreme Court.
Oh my gosh. We do not need guitar disagreements going to the Supreme Court. Could there be a bigger waste of time?
I mean, I could think of a few bigger waste of time.
I don't want to know about the stuff they fight about on the Supreme Court.
So, I mean...
Gibson has been litigious for a long time.
Yeah.
Famously, there are lawsuit model guitars out there.
Yeah.
But it's like, for them to come in so late to the game and be like, V's and Explorer shapes belong exclusively to us is bananas. Since there is such a long history of so many other brands using those shapes. Are they going to go after Ibanez? Like, Ibanez has done those shapes. Jackson
it depends on how loose they are going to call single cut or, whatever these different things. Like how...
Are they going to call out Randy Road V's,
Well, that's what I mean. Like, clearly with the Dean, like the Dean Flying V... and the Gibson Flying V, there are some design differences, but typically like where people, the general understanding, especially because of the way that previous rulings have been, is like Fender basically can't do anything with the Strat style, Tele style, like their body shapes. They can't do anything with that. Now, I don't know about the newer stuff like the Modern, like
sure,
or not the Modern, that's Gibson.
Right.
What's the Meteora?
Yeah, the Meteora.
Or Meteora, whatever that's called. That body shape. I don't know if Fender like can trademark that now since that's a new body shape for them. But generally Fender's, it's all about the headstock for them. Like they can defend the headstock. They have the right to defend the headstock.
Gibson can defend their headstock too.
Absolutely they can.
Like if someone's got that open book scroll thing going on, it's like, yeah, go after him. Like and in the video, when the video was still up, like the debate was like, or are they, because he says like, oh, we're not trying to like snuff out small builders. It sounded like they were posturing to take out like Gibson guitars, like
Yeah.
Chinese counterfeit, legit, like has Gibson on the headstock coming into the States selling for $300, and like there's market confusion there because that's like a legitimate thing. Take those guys down. Figure out ways and laws to stop that from happening, because
Right.
that does cause problems for consumers. That does cause confusion for consumers. But no one's ever looked at any single Dean and been like,
Right.
oh, that's a Gibson. Like,
Yeah.
there's never been market confusion
And I
there.
think there is kind of a broader issue too, where there's probably a point in general society where if you just walked up to a random person and you said, draw me a picture of a guitar, they're going to draw you one of three things.
Well, first of all, it's going to be bananas looking.
Yeah. But they're going to draw you one of three things. They're going to draw you a Dreadnought acoustic,
Sure.
which Gibson stole the Dreadnought acoustic from Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. Not authentic.
Not authentic. They're going to draw you a Stratocaster, or they're going to draw you a Les Paul. Those shapes. But then if
Sure.
you said like, okay, you drew a guitar, what kind of guitar is that? They're going to be like, I don't know, it's a guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got strings and it goes doing, doing, doing.
Yeah. That's the generally agreed upon description of a guitar.
Yeah.
It's got strings, goes ding, ding, ding.
So the way the video rolled out, if they would have done a whole thing and said, we've been doing this for 125 years, we've done all these great things, look at all of the things, we invented humbucker. Like they could pretty much
If they
rightfully
came out
say,
and said we invented humbuckers, I'd be like, yeah, you're close to
yeah,
correct on that.
Pretty much.
But the moment, the moment
yeah.
they're like, no one else can use humbuckers, I'd be like, oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's the way that works.
Yeah, I don't.
That's like Ford saying you can't use tires.
Yeah. Wait, has Ford ever said that?
I don't think so. I was gonna go some dark places because Henry Ford said a lot of
Oh
bad
my
stuff in
gosh.
his newsletters back in the day.
Come on
But
now.
that's a completely different subject. But yeah, it's just like such a general thing that like if Gibson had leaned into lawsuits in the 70s when Dean came out and started doing V's and Explorers, even Star Shapes, because people started coming out with the Star Shapes, were just basically a trimmed up Explorer. Like, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. But decades, going back older than I am,
Well, and that's the other thing too and Gibson
and to be seeking damages.
Gibson isn't like, well, I don't know if they're seeking actually
That's what
seeking
that's what the thing says.
the Dean one.
Yeah, they're seeking damages against Dean. Like retroactive damages
Right.
for 40 years
Yeah, which means that
of
like
infringement.
which whatever Dean's gonna have to go back and figure out how much money they paid to Michael Schenker for his signature Flying V, and also, it's all nuts. They kept talking about innovation, and I do think that Gibson is in kind of like a weird spot with innovation because you have Gibson purists who really only want Gibson to make like traditional style guitar,
Sure.
like, and
That's a whole
it
other
seems
battle,
like
though.
every time they like try to do something innovative, they just screw it up.
You know what they should be doing instead of suing Dean? They should be buying Dean.
There's probably something to that. Does Dean Zielinski still own Dean?
No.
I don't think he does.
No, he
right?
doesn't.
Because they're actually suing like it's Armadillo Music.
Yeah.
So they own Dean, they own
Luna.
and like D Drum.
Yeah.
So, or is it D Drum?
The drum. It's like B batteries.
Double D Rum.
It makes you sound like you have a stutter. B batteries.
D
Like a drum.
D batteries.
B batteries.
Oh, B batteries. Did I
Play some B batteries.
Yeah. It's just a bad look. It's a lot of people I think have kind of rightfully pointed out, like, you talk about all this innovation you've done in your 125-year history, but then you talk about how you launched the Gibson SG in 1960 and it's been in production ever since. The Les Paul has, I think, been in not constant production since 1968. All of the things that they've made that have been like innovations are like in and out of market. Like in terms of
Gibson should have a bumper sticker on their collective car that says "Innovation stops here."
Yeah,
Like,
and what I
they
mean,
might innovate when they came out with their stuff is like this. It kind of just stops.
right?
once
And
it
I
comes
guess
out.
what I mean by that is by like total model.
Sure.
The last new body shape that's been in like semi-consistent production is probably like the Explorer.
The last new body shape.
Yeah, maybe like the L5, L6. They're not really
It's
doing
probably
any...
something that you wouldn't even like realize is newish. Yeah,
Well,
I
I'm just
can't.
trying to think of like every single currently manufactured Gibson.
Yeah, they really haven't come out.
At least for their solid bodies.
I mean, think about they have some newer designs with their hollow bodies and stuff like that.
That
And
was
they're
that was another
semi-hollows.
funny thing in the video, is that they refer to the 335 as having mouse ears.
Yeah,
And people were like, pretty sure by saying mouse ears, you're kind of like broadcasting, yep, we stole this one from Disney.
oh my gosh. Well, do we have anything else to say about this? I feel like we should wrap it up at a certain point because like people are probably sick of this by now.
I hope,
but it's not gonna.
so.
It's not gonna stop. Like Gibson is going down this road. They're gonna keep going and pressing harder and harder because that's what they do, right? Now that they've tasted
that is
a little,
what they've done.
like, and it doesn't matter how awkward it gets. Like they have to double down on it, right? It's like, the person who says like, oh, I hate fish, I would never eat seafood, and then they try a little bit of like fillet of fish, and they're like, oh, that's kind of good, but they can never cop to liking it,
Yeah,
because they've already like determined and told all their friends, I hate fish. They're like, we're suing people. We are definitely suing people. This is what we're doing. We're building we're protecting our brand identity, our intellectual property. Guys, that's not a really good idea. It's making you look bad, and no one's going to buy your stuff anymore. No one's buying your stuff because they're all sick of like your BS. No, we're doing this. We're really doing this,
Right.
guys. We're really buckling down. We're going to protect our intellectual property. And meanwhile, like, people are just completely turned off by Gibson now.
somebody pointed out, and this is an interesting observation, is that because we didn't talk about this other thing, the Gibson chief merchant
Oh my gosh.
chief merchant officer.
He got into some sort of Twitter fight or Instagram fight.
He got on an Instagram fight with the whatever the guitar company is that Behinds from I think Mastodon is playing one of their guitars now, and he jumped on that picture and was like, "Oh, this is just a non-reverse Firebird," and
Which is basically a jazz master shape.
and all these people are like, "Yeah, if you're blind." Like if you can't use your eyeballs.
No, he used stronger words than that. He was like, "You're stealing from us."
Yeah, he went in pretty
like,
hard.
You are stealing from
I
us.
think what it was is the builder. It was actually posted on the builder site because he went to the concert and just happened to see one of his guitars in this famous guitar player sense. But I also think both of the guys in Mastodon used to be Gibson guys. One of them is I guess I don't know if he's with this brand. I wish I could remember the name of it. The other one went to ESP. The other one like burned Gibson to the ground when he did it because he was like, I waited like I think like 2 years or something for his like Epiphone signature prototype. And when he finally got it, it was like the wrong finish. And there were all these other problems.
It was tuned wrong and like the wrong strings.
There were a bunch of problems with it.
Because he has like such a specific setup, and when it showed up, it was just like, you guys didn't even like pay attention to like who you're working with. Like, what is this?
It's like, what's the point of being a Gibson artist if I can't even get like a properly made like Epiphone from you guys?
Oh man, Gibson.
Yeah. And all three of the people, all of the three people who are getting targeted on this, which is the new CEO, this new chief merchant officer guy has only been there, like he's also part of the turnover. And then Mark, formerly of Norman's Rare Guitars.
They're all new people.
They're all new.
It's not an old Gibson problem.
Yeah.
It's like it's like there's someone in Gibson who's a wizard and has just been there like 1,000 years. And anytime like someone new comes in, they cast the spell on them. And it's like, now you're Gibson crazy. Now nothing makes sense anymore.
Well, and so that's the thing. One of the things that was pointed out too. And
what's the character in the Lord of the Rings is like whispering in that guy's ear, and he's like all got his hair in his
Saruman or Wormtongue.
Yeah, it's that sort of situation.
Wormtongue. It's weird because a lot of people are saying like Mark should have known better because he's done this. So people are pulling up videos of him, like one of his Norm's Rare Guitars videos is a 1977, 1979 TV yellow Ibanez Rocket. Which was Ibanez's Flying V knockoff.
Yeah.
From back in the day. And he's like, he pops up the case. He's like, "Oh man, dude, this is rad!" And he's like freaking out, like on how cool this thing is. And so people are like, people are like pulling that up. I do wonder, like, based on the tone and everything of the video, if they're like, oh, we got this popular Instagram, YouTube guy. Let's like try to use this to our advantage. Let's get this message out. And because the other two guys, they're not, one of them's like in a band. The other one is like made pants.
He didn't make the pants. He owned the pants. He worked for the company that made the pants.
Yeah. Well, he ran the company that made the pants.
Right. But he didn't own the company. Being a CEO doesn't mean you own the company.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, typically you do, hopefully, have some stock in the company.
Well, yeah, but you don't own it.
You don't own, sure. But so I have to imagine that with Mark, his title is like director of brand, whatever. And director sounds fancy until you work at a company like most companies that are big enough to have middle management.
Yeah.
And you have like a director just means you're in charge of a department, but it doesn't mean like you're anywhere actually near the top. Like the director in my work group, which is only like a 70-person company, the director in my work group is still below, like is at least 2 levels, if not 3 levels below the CEO.
Right.
So it's not like she's in charge of my work group.
Yeah.
And she has input, but at the end of the day, like she has a boss.
I mean, I'm on my resume, I say that I'm an art director, but I'm self-employed. So who am I directing really?
Yeesh. Why aren't you the CEO of Big Ryan Designs? Anyway.
But that's the role I'm filling. It doesn't mean
you just watched Mad Men and you wanted to be art director.
I never watched Mad Men.
You never? Oh, man.
Well, I watched like 2 episodes and I was just like, this isn't for me. And everyone thought it would be for me because it's like that world that I work in.
No.
It's like, I leave work at work, weirdos.
What's that? Who was it was talking about all those different shows? Or was it you that was like, oh, it's a period piece drama set in this time period?
Yeah, it's an interpersonal drama.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is an interpersonal drama set in a fantasy medieval universe.
Yeah, once you watch a show long enough, it all turns into the same thing. Like it's just characters bouncing off of each other, having little dramas. Like the background doesn't matter anymore.
All right. Well, speaking of fake Gibsons and lawsuits, this next ad is a used 1984 ESP New York.
Did you say Muse?
Used.
Used.
This next ad is a used 1984 ESP New York custom ordered travel guitar, triple humbucker with hard shell, free shipping. A guitar made to order by ESP New York in 1984. The center seamed solid frame maple top is truly amazing. A semi-acoustic sound comes from the hollowing out of the center seamed mahogany. 3 pickups mounted in the structure can be switched to humbucking off single for each pickup with a switch. Fingerboard is ebony. The bridge is a Steinberger and a hollow case dedicated hard case. Okay, sure. It's a very exciting one. There's a jig for straps on the back, but it's not very practical. If you want to play full-fledged standing style, we recommend separately attaching strap pins on the body side as well as with normal Les Pauls. Since the 5th fret of a normal guitar is in the nut position, it's the same tuning as using a capo in the 5th frame. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But basically, oh wow, $4,078.
I know, right?
But if you are the kind of person who has wanted a professional grade Gibson Les Paul, but you frequently capo to the 5th position, this could be the guitar for you.
Man, I don't get this.
It's a travel guitar.
But it's like I don't get travel guitars either. Like to a certain extent, I don't get them. And I realize I own one back there. I've got the Hofner.
Yeah.
But it's like, by the time you're done packing this up, yeah, you're saving a foot of space off the case. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It hardly seems worth it. Like for the amount of energy that went into this, just buy a guitar wherever you're. Rent a guitar wherever you're.
This is like a travel guitar. This is like my kind of travel guitar. It's like the guitar that I would keep in like my office at work. Like that's what this is. This is like the travel. This isn't really like.
But it's permanently fretted at the 5th
This isn't like a real travel guitar. This is a travel guitar for like. This is like for the CEO's office. He was like,
If it's in your office, it doesn't need to be a travel guitar.
Yeah, but you don't want to take up a bunch of room. Yeah, okay, you're fine.
But the body is full size. Like I feel like a travel guitar that's got a like super micro body and headless.
Right.
I get it. That's fine. Like even shorter scale, that's fine. Like I get what you're trying to do. Like you're trying to get it to fit down into like a box the size of like a
what you're saying,
a pool cue
so
box.
What you're saying
you
is
know?
you should buy this and then just shave off all of the horns and the
buy
butt.
a $4,000 custom guitar and shave the sides off. Take it down to a 2x4.
To a true travel guitar.
And there's no reason the tail needs like it doesn't need a full size body on this. It could have been trimmed at the bridge. It's got a Steinbrenner bridge on it.
Yeah, no, I know. But they want it to look like a Les Paul.
It's just over the top.
How many of these design elements are actually Gibson intellectual property?
The removed headstock is.
Yeah. This is I
only that would have been broken off at the first fret. This is broken off at the
God.
5th fret.
I think this is at least pretty.
Yeah, I like the finish on the body. I like the binding. I like the 3 pickups. I even like the control layout of the 3 switches with the 2 knobs.
I will say, like, that's the crazy thing is if this was a full scale guitar for $4,000, it'd just be like, well,
it'd be like a custom ESP from the 80s.
Yeah, if it was like a full scale headstockless ESP with the Steinberger trim, you'd be like, oh yeah, $4,000. Like you'd at least understand why it's so expensive.
Right.
And why this exists.
I understand why it's expensive because it is a custom piece from, probably
brand.
the golden age of whatever, this company considers their golden age. But man, just the weirdness of it, I'm like, nah, I'll pass. I'm also just like, I feel like travel guitars are dumb for the most part. If you're traveling, just decide.
Go there.
Just decide if you actually need a guitar there or not. If you actually need a guitar there, commit.
Just go buy a cheap guitar off of Amazon and have it shipped to your location, and then smash it.
Well, this was built in the 80s. Like,
yeah.
How much? I don't know. I just have trouble seeing the reasoning for it. Like, just buy a smaller body guitar. Stop hacking necks in half. Stop doing like crazy weird like remove the neck things or whatever. Like, I don't know. I say this after I had a pleasant interaction with a travel guitar company in the airport like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And those are crazy expensive too.
Yeah, but there's a lot of moving parts on those.
A lot of moving parts. But even once you fold those in half, you're still carrying something pretty bulky with you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of still a pain in the butt to haul one of those around. Like, it would be easy for me to take my Duosonic traveling with me. It's up there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's pretty small. I mean, the Hofner is a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we need to get so ridiculous with over-designing travel guitars is my question.
I want a guitar that is interlocking, and so you fold it out. Like, you can, like, fold it into the size of a credit card, but it's, like, that thick. But it's, like, and then when you get to your location, you just flip it out, and it's, like...
With those Evertune bridges, someone's going to take that technology and make it just so you'll have a guitar body someday, and the neck will just telescope out.
There you go. There you go.
There's my neck. And like it will have little spools with the strings inside, and it'll just spool out the string as you go, but there will be some sort of thing inside to keep it like the correct tension at every fret. You could put it down on the 5th fret if you want, and it'll keep the correct tension. It's a really bad idea, but now that I've put it out into the world, someone's gonna freaking try to design it. I'm gonna see it in the basement at NAMM next year. Not because of me, just because that idea exists in the universe now.
All right, this next ad is not an ad. This is a sponsor spot. Thank you this week to our sponsor, Sinusoid. They have Tech Flex, which is this stuff, but you can get it in a bunch of different colors. It's this shiny, slick plastic coating that goes over your cable, protects it from the elements.
I think I've had this cable and the guitar cables that look the same for like 2 years now.
Yeah, they stay really clean.
They still look brand new, and they still feel brand new. Like, this stuff really protects it. When I first got it, I was afraid, like, oh, it's just going to get full of dirt and dust or whatever. No, they still look really sharp and clean. It's actually, there's one hanging up on the Ibanez amp behind you right now. It still looks fresh, right?
Yeah.
I use that cable weekly for gigging, daily for recording around here.
Apparently you rub your beard on it, too.
There was a hair stuck in it, apparently. Oh, in the Velcro, maybe. If any cable around here should look worn, it should be this one. And it still looks pretty much brand new.
Yeah, so we have like the black and white stripe. There's a bunch of different colors. I have the rainbow one. They just came out with one called Neapolitan that's like a black, cream, and red kind
Sounds
of a
delicious.
thing. So go check it out at sinusoid.com. Sinusoid cables.
They make cables.
And they make other things.
They make smiles, Steve.
Ah, gotcha. This episode is also brought to you by Chase Bliss Audio. They are in the process of pre-ordering, I believe, or is it out?
I don't know, man. I think it's pre-order. The Mood.
The Mood. The Mood is a 2-channel granular micro looper delay designed to be playful and immediate. Is a study of interaction. Mood is internally collaborative, allowing audio to freely pass back and forth between its two sides, evolving and transforming over time. Drollo Effects is behind the loop channel, collection of always listening micro loopers, and Old Blood Noise Endeavors offered up the wet channel, a suite of live spatial effects.
I like what Chase Bliss has been doing with collabing with different builders for like the different sizes of their pedals. Like the Dark World was like that with reverbs from
Keeley. Was it Keeley?
I could remember Keeley. I can't remember the other one.
Oh.
Was it Old Blood? No.
Oh, I have no
idea. I completely... Was it Cooper? Cooper Effects? For some reason, we're ruining this sponsorship spot.
I mean,
but anyways,
it could be.
I think one of these things is on the way to me. One of these Mood pedals.
Oh.
I'm a little scared.
Yeah,
it looks really, really wild.
On the Chase Bliss site, they have the video that's already been done by Knobs.
And then they have the mini dock.
Yep.
And Joel told me he was going to send me something, and I asked him what it was.
It was Cooper Effects, by the way.
Cooper Effects. I did get it right.
Good memory.
I asked him, what does the pedal do? And he, like, the little thing on my messenger kept popping up, like, oh, he's typing something. And then it would stop, and he's typing something. And like 10 minutes later, he's like, I don't know what to tell you what it does. You're just going to have to mess around with it.
Well, it seems like it's another one of these things where it's like, as far as basic functions go, like Chase Bliss makes pedals that work very well for basic functions, but as you dig into them, they start doing like crazier and crazier things. Because as a base function, like I watched most of the Knobs video. I didn't have enough time to watch the whole thing. And at a base level, like it's a loop pedal, but it's a loop pedal where you can like adjust the quality of the loop as it plays, basically.
Right.
And so, but you could just use it as a loop or as like a delay, like a looping, like a delay function or on a looping it's like a delay pedal with a loop.
Maybe I was watching it too late at night, but when I was watching the videos, like this thing is pretty wild.
Oh yeah, no, well you can. It's Knobs. Knobs always gets really wild with that stuff. So, no, I think it looks like a ton of fun. So
yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just a little scared.
Yeah,
I'm a little scared of that thing. It's going to be pretty crazy. All right. Last topic.
Yeah, this topic was sent to us by Sean Wright.
Another pedal builder.
Lollygagger Effects. And now my phone doesn't work.
Uh-oh.
Basically, the gist of Sean's question, though, was how much interaction or how much builder interaction... Oh, there it is. How important as a builder is it to interact with the playing community, and what do you feel is the right amount?
I don't think it's about amount. I think it's about quality. I think there's a lot of builders in our community that interact in really powerful and really effective ways with our audience, with their audience, with different groups across the internet. And then there's builders that don't do so well. Mm-hmm. I think it doesn't come down to the amount that they're doing it. It comes down to the quality of the interaction, and it really comes down to like an undefinable element of like getting it, being cool.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of understanding. It's like any social situation. You got to read the room.
Sure.
What did Forrest Gump fail to do when he showed up at Jenny's Black Panther party? He did not read the room.
I don't remember that part.
When he comes in and when he leaves, he says, "Sorry, I ruined your Black Panther party."
I don't remember that part. I'm missing
classic.
Classic part. I haven't watched Forrest Gump in an appropriate amount of time.
Yeah, fair. Anyway, but it's one of those things where it's like you just have to like get a feel out for the group. I think a lot of groups, it doesn't play well when you show up and nobody really knows who you are, and you just start kind of like dumping like demo videos that you make in your in your bedroom or whatever.
No one wants a builder to show up and just start being like self-promoting, like, oh, here's my product. Here, check out my video.
Here's a bunch of pictures.
Oh, check. Yeah, here's my build process. Like, unless it's really different and really engaging, and that's even hard to define, then it's like people don't really want to be advertised to when they're in a group.
Right.
But what people do want is like if someone starts talking about your product in the group, to have you show up and be able to talk about it in a real way.
I think there's also just ways to like actually be really slick about it when you're a very small company. If you're like a 1-man, 2-man shop situation, to kind of come in, like you can be like, hey, does anyone else in here like build pedals? Here's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in that way, like,
well, like that's the sort of thing you can only do it a couple times, or else you're like
then it's like obvious.
A repeat offender, you know?
Why do you just post the same questions over and over again? Just buy the damn thing already.
It's really just a subtlety thing. Like if someone set out rules to do it right, like it would stop being right because people would abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really comes down to being a real person in the places that you are at, like letting people discover that you're the person behind the brand.
Right.
Interacting in natural, normal people ways. Basically, like, don't be in a group if you don't want to be in the group. Like, if you're only there to self-promote, like, I think that's really like a defining element of a lot of the builders that we see interact online in really effective ways, is that they're in those places because they want to be there, because they're having their own good time being there, and they're interested in the discussions that are happening.
It helps too when like you have experience with like I would assume most builders have a broad stretch of experience, but like no one wants the guy who's like imagine like I actually don't know if I assume Robert Keeley's not. Oh, so like imagine Brian Wampler. I know Brian Wampler is in our group. At least
Keeley is too.
Is Keeley in it? I very rarely see Keeley post stuff on Facebook, so I don't know how
he replies to things, and he pokes his head in.
But
he poked his head in to ask why I didn't include a Keeley pedal in my last drip video.
Really?
I was like, send me one, and then he went dark.
But it's like, if somebody asks a question about a DS1, and you make it's Brian Wampler is like the king of the DS1.
Sure.
That's what he cut his teeth on. That's like his. If you search for like Wampler DS1, there's like manuals on how to do DS1 mods that are just like stuff that he figured out. And but like if you ask a question about a DS1 and he chimes in, he's like, oh yeah, like here's a bunch of resources, here's a bunch of things I wrote up, like they're whatever. Like that's one thing. If he versus like if he were to come in and Brian doesn't do this.
Sure.
It's to come in and be like, oh yeah, you like the DS1? You should go get I just came out with this pedal called the Pantheon. You should go get it.
Right.
Like, which I've seen builders do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh yeah, I wanted to know about like this new JHS pedal. Thanks for telling me about your pedal. I guess.
Like play it cool. Like don't like, you got to turn off like the advertising mode when you're in a group, because people don't want that. Like it'll do better for you. Like if you do the JHS thing and be like, oh, check out these other builders' things. And you're like, oh my gosh, Brian Wampler pushed me towards a Keeley pedal, or he pushed me towards, like this pedal company I've never heard before. And like, oh, he's a cool guy. Now he's on my list of cool guys, and maybe I'll buy from him in the future,
Yeah. So, I mean, I think if you're just being like a regular guy in a group, like functionally outside of like the 60 cycle hum group, like all the other groups I'm in, like I'm just a regular guy in the group.
Not me. I show up and people are like, oh my gosh, Ryan's here.
Anyway, so you can just be like a regular guy in a group, and like every once in a while I drop links to our videos or whatever. I'm like,
sure.
Whenever people are like, oh, drop your Instagram handles here, like I always just drop the podcast Instagram handle. And people are like, oh, I love your stuff. I'm like, cool.
No big deal.
But I think
No
like
sweat.
I think that's like the big thing is like, you know, if you're coming in all aggro, like if you're just seeing Facebook groups or different, you know, social media interaction as like, I think Instagram, like if you're running your own Instagram account, it's appropriate for your Instagram account to be a marketing platform.
Well, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Like
It's inappropriate for your Instagram account or even your personal Instagram account to be going to like other builders and again, oh, you like this pedal? You know, builder X posts a picture of their new distortion. You don't jump on there and be like, oh, you should check out my distortion.
sometimes people will, and YouTube flags this. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, you like this video? Check out my review."
I always approve those videos.
Yeah, me too. Of this guitar or this pedal or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's super tacky, but I'm gonna let it through just so like people can see how tacky you are.
I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna go take your Josh Scott is wrong video and just start dropping it on every JHS video.
Oh my
For like the
gosh.
last 3 months.
No, don't make people hate me.
Anyway, I don't know. You got anything else on that?
No, I don't think so. I feel like it's such a broad topic, but it's something definitely worth thinking about. I mean, there's so many builders out there, and they're all trying to get their foot in the door and make a name for themselves. And it's like you can definitely make the wrong name for yourself if you are not cool, basically. And I'm not saying like cool and like keeping up with trends. I'm just saying cool as in like interpersonal interactions. You know, like, are you the cool guy at the party who's hanging out and like having a good time talking with everyone and it's really natural? Or are you the guy at the party like trying to get everyone into your MLM scheme?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of other things like that too. Like it's funny when builders like eventually develop into like funny trolls in groups.
Sure.
But it's different when like a person that you don't really know, like like everyone has a personality, obviously. But I think when you're a builder or you have some kind of branding, like now all of a sudden, like whatever your online personality is also that's part of your branding.
Yeah.
So when you come in like super aggressive about anything, whether, you know, like anything like that, people would say is semi-serious, which is really just like politics and religion.
Sure.
All of a sudden, like that reflects on your brand that like, oh, this person is like a hyper aggressive, whatever.
Right. People will forget all the times that you're nice or normal. They won't remember any time that you're normal. They will remember forever the one time you were a dick.
Yep.
So if you're a dick one time, that's a pretty rough thing to do to your brand.
It's true.
So keep that in mind.
All right, some quick housekeeping before we get out of here. I want to give a shout out to Brandon Mullis, who started supporting the show through Patreon at the $1 level, and to Dave Martin, who started supporting the show also on Patreon at the $10 level. Thanks, guys. We appreciate everyone who supports this show financially or just from listening and liking and sharing and all the other things you can do.
And caring.
Don't care, just share. I don't know what that means. But yeah, obviously the financial stuff helps us do the stuff we're doing. And we're actually, Ryan and I have been talking about doing a full redesign of the little studio space here. So
make it more attractive.
That's going to be another investment of the money that comes in from your guys' support. And like I said, everything counts.
Yeah. Also, Patreon is paying for my plane ticket to get to Summer NAMM. So
yeah.
I can cover all that stuff.
Got to get that tent.
Yep.
Also, copyright on the word tent. We invented that. Do we want to do this last ad?
No, let's get out of here.
You know what? This last ad, it was a dumb pick anyway.
It's a dumb pick. I'll put a picture of it. Don't buy this pick. It's like, why would you? My comment on it is like, oh, cool. Now I have to completely relearn how to hold a guitar pick.
Oh, cool.
Just because this thing exists.
Oh, cool. Dumb pick. This song was sent in by Ben Bryles. He says, I'm a major amateur when it comes to recording music, so my stuff usually ends up sounding pretty rough around the edges, but I think I like it that way. Anyway, this song is called Keeper. It's pretty slow and quiet through most of the song, so I don't know how well it fits with the stuff you normally play at the end of the episodes. Neither do I. But I figured I'd send it your way anyway. As far as gear goes, I recorded the acoustic parts, a Washburn Augusta, and the vocals into a Shure SM27, connected to a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. The electric guitar was a Fender Classic Player Jaguar, through an EHX Soul Food into a Hot Rod DeVille 410, using the same mic, and the bass was a Squier P bass recorded direct through the line out on a Line 6 DT25. The little noodly guitar parts were recorded with the same stuff, with the EHX Canyon delay on a Memory Man setting. So the Bandcamp is this guy's online persona is called Spooky Sleepy. So you can check him out at spookysleepy.bandcamp.com or on Spotify as Spooky Sleepy. And this song is called Keeper. So go check it out. Or actually just listen to it right now and then go check it out.
Bye, everybody. Stay grounded.
Ah, you got me!
You're a keeper, whether I want you or not. Watching me sleep in the corner of my bedroom. I can hear you breathe as you creep up next to me. Take me in your arms, my tiny bad luck charm. Think how I just about forgot who you are. Ignoring all the places that I leave in the dark. Don't let me be. I've got you to keep. What is disruption? No, you'll never say a word. Alone on a back road, I swear. You whisper, I'm sure you wait forever. No, you'll never let me go. But I'm content to leave you hanging on to a feeling I'll never know. Think how I just about forgot who you are. Ignoring all the places that I leave in the dark. Don't let me be. I've got you to keep. You're a keeper, whether I want you or not. Watching me sleep from the corner